Hello, everyone. This is the People's Wrestling Podcast. My name is Kimbo Skills,
And I'm Aerodynamics.
and we're here to discuss WWE's Backlash and NXT Chicago pay-per-view. Um, Definitely a lot of wrestling that happened this weekend, and I have to say that it's a good weekend to be a wrestling fan because these shows were pretty top-notch. Some of the best work we've probably seen this year, other than WrestleMania.
Yeah, I was gonna say like this is definitely NXT Takeover, amazing. Backlash definitely a good show with the biggest surprise of all. The WWE did the unthinkable and put the championship on Jinder Mahal, man.
Yeah, man, that was definitely a shocker to me because for somebody who wasn't given a chance before, and all of a sudden he, get, got in the gym, started building up his physique, started practicing his promos, and look what that hard work went to, man. Like, everybody thought he couldn't do it, but he pulled it through.
This man went from 3MB in a period of what, 3 years, from 3MB to WWE champion.
And
Like, wow.
anything is possible. And to be honest, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every single bit of his championship victory.
Oh yeah, like I realized that, like, to the point of the Chicago crowd was speechless. That was like Undertaker losing to Brock Lesnar speechless. Like they were shook. I've never seen the Chicago crowd ever, just caught in complete awe. Like, that's amazing.
I gotta admit though, it was definitely a good crowd. They were a little more lively, I guess, because they're still a little excited off that NXT show, which was also fantastic. But there was a few CM Punk chants, but they're most of the part, they were actually participating with the matches, and I thought that was pretty well done.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the only time I really kind of know, it's like for the most part they're definitely a hot crowd. I think you notice them kind of die down during the Harper and Rowan match. They died down a little bit during that one, but I was about to say for the most part, yeah, they're definitely a hot crowd though.
Yeah, man. Chicago is they're usually known for taking over the show, but I think they made it a little more exciting than say if it was down here with us in Montgomery, Alabama. But we're not gonna get into that too much right now.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess we should start off. Well, we want to start off talking about Backlash, right? Since that was tonight.
Yeah, I got a couple of notes here written down. The kickoff show. I didn't get to see the full kickoff show, but I got to see a few highlights from the Ty Dillinger Aiden English match. I actually like these two guys, and for what Aiden English did with the villain gimmick, I thought it was really well. I just hate to see that their tag team really didn't last due to Simon Gotch's departure.
Yeah.
And Ty Dillinger, he's at first he was jobbing out to all the debut guys in NXT, but towards the end of his tenure in NXT, he kind of built up such a strong fan base that it's starting to carry over into his main roster performance as well. And seeing how Chicago was reacting to him when he came out and the moves that he was pulling out in the ring, that guy really has a future with the company.
I think so. It's just a matter of if he's going to hit the WWE's glass ceiling as of now, because when you really think about it, out of all the recent debuts, he's kind of one that, since he's been on the main roster, he hasn't necessarily been pushed as far as some of the others so far. He's kind of in a dead period. But it's only been 6 weeks of him being on the roster. But I saw a bit of this match, and they actually let Aiden English. He got in a good amount of offense, which actually kind of shocked me. I thought it was going to be kind of similar to their last match that they had on SmackDown, where it kind of be more like a 5 minute match. But they let Aiden English get in a good amount of offense. Like you said, the crowd, they were really into it. So definitely, I think it's a decent start, and it'll be interesting to see where both of these guys are going to be within the next couple of months. Hopefully, I hope neither one of them are just going to be jobbing out on SmackDown. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. Obviously, it was kind of predictable. Ty Dillinger pulled out the win using his signature move, the tiebreaker, which I actually enjoy him using different versions of that move because there was one instance where he'll just drop the person on his knee on the back of their head, but now
Yeah.
he's actually reversing it, and it is doing a lot more impact than what he did when he first debuted. But what do you think about Aiden English? Do you think he needs to continue this Christian style crybaby type gimmick, or do you think he needs to be like a little more serious?
I It's like, since it's kind of like, well, it's not a new gimmick per se, because since this is the gimmick that apparently he had before uh he joined the Vaudevillains, before they kind of had the Vaudevillains. But I think just kind of give it time to see where he develops in it. Um, just because I think it could possibly go somewhere if they can give him kind of a ruthless streak, where he kind of goes from crybaby to whooping somebody's ass. If he goes kind of 180 with the whole drama, because what they call him, the drama king. So if he could kind of turn it on and off and get really aggressive, I think it can kind of work in his favor. But I put it like this: it's definitely one of those gimmicks that the crowd's definitely not going to like. It's kind of on the lines of the Drifter, except the Drifter kind of got some popularity when he came out as El Vagabondo. But I think it could be decent for him. It's just kind of a matter of seeing how it develops on the main roster.
Yeah, that's the only thing because Aiden English, he's a pretty athletic guy, and when he was with the tag team with the Vaudevillains, I didn't really get to see too much of his athletic ability, just only little spurts of it every now and then. And the guy's actually really good in the ring, and I don't want him to be one of those guys that get released because he didn't have an opportunity to really show what he got because they gave him this sorry gimmick. Because I could really see him doing kind of like a Damien Sandow-ish type character and actually do it right to where it can get over. But I don't really see the whole cry drama king thing working out too well. I just see him jobbing out. But hopefully, after this feud, he can possibly feud with somebody that can give him a little bit more steam. Because right now, him feuding with Ty Dillinger is only going to help Ty Dillinger out, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely can tell this is a short term, definitely a short term feud between the two of them, or at least I hope it is. Because I want to see Ty feud with somebody who's kind of already on the main roster, that can kind of give him a little boost. And kind of the same thing with Aiden English. I want to see him, go up against a baby face that can kind of give his character a little bit more breathing room, a little bit more to, feed off of. Because really, you kind of have, in this case, two new talents um, to the main roster, because you have one splitting up from from a tag team. So, now he doesn't really have his partner to kind of be a crutch on. He has to stand on his own 2 feet. And Ty being new to the main roster, so it's kind of two new guys trying to work each other. So maybe with a little veteran helping there, they might be able to develop something.
So what do you think is next for Ty Dillinger? Does he continue to wrestle these low level guys right now, try to build himself up more, or do you think he's ready to take on somebody maybe on the mid card?
I honestly don't know yet. Now that I see that Jinder Mahal is champion, I think that's really going to depend on who all they decide to put in for the Money in the Bank ladder match.
Yeah,
Because it looks, from what I can tell, you would think AJ Styles and Kevin Owens are going to have another matchup for the U.S. title, probably at Money in the Bank. As well as I'd imagine Randy would be getting his return match at Money in the Bank also. So that kind of frees up 2 championship matches. So I'd imagine, if they're at least trying to give him somewhat of a push, he might end up going into that Money in the Bank ladder match. But I will say, depending on if this Dolph and Shinsuke thing is a one and done type ordeal, if that's something that's going to keep going, or if that's something that's going to stop after this pay-per-view, I could potentially see Ty Dillinger feuding with Dolph Ziggler. I think that could be a good feud moving forward.
yeah. Perfect team versus a show off. I think that'll definitely be a good feud for Ty Dillinger, especially what Dolph Ziggler showed tonight with Nakamura, which
Yep.
we'll be getting into shortly.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think that's actually a perfect segue into it, actually.
All right, the beginning of Backlash, the starting cinematic was good as always. WWE continued to step it up with the opening cinematics for their pay-per-views, and the SmackDown tends to get the better cinematics than Raw, especially when it comes down to their match cards.
Yeah.
But to start off the show, it was actually surprising. I didn't think that they was gonna start off with this match so soon, but considering the look of the card, I can see why they wanted to start it off hot. The first match of the night was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Dolph Ziggler. So
Yeah.
what are your thoughts, man?
Yeah. So, to be honest, like looking back at it now, the fact that that match started, I should have guessed that that only meant that Jinder was going to win, because personally, the way that they really built this whole pay-per-view around Shinsuke Nakamura, you would have thought this would have been the main event. But it was definitely a great starter match. I think the thing that actually surprised me was, I feel like Dolph got off a whole lot more offense than I thought he would have gotten off in his match.
Exactly.
Looking at it, it kind of reminded me a little bit of a John Cena match, and I know there are probably some people that may listen to this and be like, "Don't you ever compare Shinsuke and John Cena?" But not necessarily in terms of skill, but it kind of has that whole feel of, the crowd favorite getting beat up the entire match and then coming in strong at the end. Granted, it definitely wasn't, the typical John Cena 5 moves of doom type situation. It definitely was more of a realistic win coming on Shinsuke's part. But I definitely was expecting probably more of a 50-50 kind of type offensive maneuver, or at least a 60-40, leaning more so on Shinsuke's side than Dolph's side. But like you said, really, I think this match, it was a good match for Shinsuke Nakamura, but to be honest, I think this match did more for Dolph Ziggler than anybody. Because I can't lie, this match made Dolph Ziggler look like he should be competing in the main event for championship matches. And I don't know if maybe that was the WWE's plan or what, to kind of build Dolph Ziggler back up to, seem like he's a little bit more legit. But that's definitely the way it looked from my point of view, anyway.
I have to agree on that. I think that was all Dolph's doing. If they're not going to give him that top spot, then he's just going to go out there and perform to where they have no choice but to give it to him. But he definitely was dominating the match the whole time. The one the one spot that I really didn't like, that I thought the start of it was good, but the reaction to it was not that great. It was when Dolph spit in Nakamura's face.
Hmm.
I thought Nakamura would have a bit more rage to him. Maybe his strikes would have been stronger. I mean, he did pretty well, but for somebody to spit in your face like that, you would want to kill somebody. And I didn't
Yeah.
feel like I got that rage or that anger or that aggression from Nakamura as I would have hoped. Maybe because he's not uh, really know that he doesn't really know Dolph's style for real or anything like that, or maybe that hasn't happened to him. I'm not sure, but I kind of wanted a little more when that moment happened. He did kind of ramp it up a little bit towards the end, but it just they didn't give him enough time because Dolph, like, literally like 2 minutes later, Dolph got his offense back.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Oh, good. Keep going. Keep going.
Oh, uh, yeah, Dolph got his offense back, and if Nakamura didn't hit that Explorer suplex, then I almost thought Dolph was gonna win this match. I thought they was gonna swerve us and actually have Dolph beat Nakamura in his debut match.
Man, I was about to say if Dolph would have beat Nakamura during his debut match, man, I don't know how that Chicago crowd would have reacted for the rest. Like they probably would have been livid. Um, but definitely, like I think, I will say the one thing that like kind of thinking back on it a little bit, which I don't like, um, is the fact that because the whole time Dolph really, the lead up to the match was he kind of made Nakamura seem more like he was a newbie. Granted, he's new to the main roster, but like I said, he's been wrestling for years. So kind of the match kind of made it seem as if Dolph was kind of this this veteran in the game, and Shinsuke was kind of like the new kid on the block. Um, which, like I said, in terms of the main roster, yeah, but Shinsuke's been wrestling for years. So one thing that I guess that's kind of one thing that kind of with Dolph getting so much offense in, it's kind of a little eh. Like I can definitely see why for some people they may not like the match. Granted, I haven't necessarily seen social media reactions. I haven't necessarily been looking at all of that to see how everybody felt about it. But like I said, I liked the match. Ultimately Shinsuke won. Like everybody knew he was. Like I said, it did wonders for Dolph, in my opinion, and making him look a whole lot better. Um, but definitely in future matches to come, I definitely want to see more offense coming from Shinsuke Nakamura. Um, like I said, he's the king of strong style. Like I said, they built the whole pay per view around him. I definitely was expecting to see something a little bit more spectacular from him, but debut match, you don't want to give it all away too soon. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. So do they continue this feud or not? Do you want to see more Dolph Ziggler versus Shinsuke, or should they just move on?
I feel like this. I would not mind seeing more of them in the ring together. It's just a matter of they would definitely have to do better with building up this type of feud. But I can see how this feud could end right after Dolph losing, Dolph kind of having a bruised ego and possibly going after, like I said, kind of like the next new guy. So I can easily see him decide to target Todd Dillinger afterwards or something like that. But it's kind of 50-50. That's why I feel right now. I feel like it could either continue. Hopefully, if they do decide to continue it, maybe it'll be like I said within Money in the Bank or something like that. But it could go either way. I wouldn't mind seeing more in the ring though.
Okay. I definitely agree. And I guess we can move on to the next match, which was the tag team match, the Usos versus Breezango.
Fashion police.
The Fashion Police, or the janitors, depending on how they came out tonight.
All right, I can't lie. Like when he came out as a janitor, I was at first I was just sitting there, I was like, really? Like they're really coming out as a janitor? But I'm not gonna lie, that was funny. That
It was.
it turned out to be pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. Especially like I can't lie, the commentary team they definitely added to it a lot. They definitely did their job here and during this match. But it was a good match too. Like even with the comedy aspect, the in ring action was also pretty good as well.
Bro, I absolutely love the Usos, bro. That heel turn is possibly the best thing they could have did for them because the way they act in the ring and how they come out, they just have that aura of that I don't give a damn. I'm finna whoop your ass. We finna go back home with these titles. And the next time we want to attack somebody or somebody want to come from the belts, we're gonna do the same thing that we did to the last person.
Oh yeah, like I definitely enjoyed the Usos heel turn. It was one of those things like when they first turned heel. One, I was happy they turned heel, but I was kind of like, where are they gonna go with it? But definitely like how they're kind of, in my opinion, especially after looking at a lot of their things like up down down with with
Yeah.
Apollo Creed and all those different things. Like looking at those guys, Austin Creed, not Apollo Creed, but looking at all those different things, like to me, I feel like now they're more so of acting like themselves. Like I feel like they really get to be themselves now when they're going out there. Um, because I was about to say, if you've ever, watched a lot of up, down, down stuff, like looking at them there and then like listen to their promos, listen to them in the ring, I was like, it sounds like they're just really just out there being themselves. Um, which it's kind of, I don't know how you can view it with that being a heel persona per se, but I definitely like it a little bit more. They definitely seem to be more comfortable. They're able to have more fun with their promos. Um, and like I said, the in ring action. I think even with the in ring action, one thing I really like is they're not even they're not necessarily even cheating to win. They're just out wrestling the other guys. And so I definitely like strong heel characters. I just kind of hate that leading up to this, there wasn't more of them. Like you barely saw them on TV. Like I think the last time they wrestled a match was when they did their title defense against American Alpha before then. So it's just kind of like you want to see a little bit more of them.
I get what you're coming from. I think they kept him away to try to elevate Breezango a little bit more because for that tag team just to come out of nowhere, kind of like Jinder Mahal, you kind of got to spend a little bit more time with them with the Usos. Because I feel like if they would have had the Usos wrestling every week just like Breezango did, I think the Usos would kind of like overshadow them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Probably made them seem less of a threat to them if the Usos was winning and Breezango was winning. The Usos are an established tag team.
Yeah.
Breezango was treated as a jobber team at first, and now they're getting elevated just a little bit. And even with their skits now, they're still kind of like a comedic tag team.
Yeah.
But to see them get a couple of wins over the tag teams like the Ascension and the Colognes, I think that really helped them out. And with the Usos not being there, it kind of gave the crowd focus or the fans focus on Breezango.
Yeah.
And
I can see
I
that.
think it really helped out.
I can definitely see that. Especially I'll say with this match, it was the perfect blend of humor as well as activity, in ring action. Because I'm not gonna lie, like even I remember when Fandango first, hit the debut, hit the main roster, went against Chris Jericho. I didn't think he was that great in the ring, just to be honest. And even leading up to everything until these past couple of weeks, I didn't really see Fandango being that great in the ring as an in-ring performer. But definitely the spotlight that they've given on these guys, like on Breezango, like I've definitely seen why when he first got into the company they were pushing him because like seeing some of the moves and different things he did in the ring, I was just kind of like, why haven't they been pushing this guy? Way before then. Like, why have they just been having him job out to these guys? Because he's actually very good in the ring. As you can see, the different skits with Tyler Breeze, like, he has a personality. So I was like, why haven't they actually been pushing this guy beforehand? So I definitely think it's going to be good. I think the only thing about them losing this match that's going to give me a little bit of concern is what's going to happen when the New Day comes back.
Yeah.
That's really going to kind of be the big thing is how is that all going to shake up? Because one, it's the New Day. And then two, you have the Usos, which is kind of like, 1A, 1B as far as tag teams go. And then with right now, Breezango is the only other face. Well, American Alpha, they're also faces, but they kind of don't count at this point. They're great in the ring, but they have no personality. But with this match though, it was definitely, like I said, a fun match. I died laughing when when they threw that dress and it landed on JBL. That was funny.
I was also laughing at the part where I think it was Jay Uso was trying to do the splash and Breeze was rolling over the ring.
Oh yeah.
Bro, that jump was hilarious, man.
I was like, that was good. That was definitely good. Like they found a way to mix the comedy of their skits, also and still tell a good story in the ring. I think that was really good.
Yeah, it was definitely a great match. Probably probably one of my favorite tag team matches I've seen this year. And Breezango really did a great job. And usually if I would have seen this match of how they booked them like maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, I probably would have been like, I definitely would. I probably would have skipped it. But the way they've been building lately, I definitely would like to see some more of Breezango, especially in the coming months. And hopefully they might win the tag team championships one day.
Yeah, I definitely think eventually they'll be tag team champions. I think even when the New Day gets on the roster, I don't think they'll be quick to put the SmackDown tag team championships on them. I think they'll give it a little while and try to develop some other people before they finally put the straps on New Day, if they put the straps on New Day at all.
Um, I I think if the New Day comes in, their feud needs to be. I think American Alpha needs to turn heel against them because I don't think they need to come back and automatically feud with the Usos.
I can see that. Um, I don't know. I don't know if American Alpha should turn heel. I think it would be a good. I think it could be a good catalyst, but I'm also looking at the other teams between the Ascension and the Colognes. If American Alpha turns heel, then there's almost like you'll have an abundance of heel teams.
I got you.
So it's kind of like one of those other teams would, in return, would have to turn face, and I can't really see the Ascension as a face team. And I mean, the Colognes could be a face, but since they kind of went from the Shining Stars gimmick to the Colognes, now it's kind of like it seems more like they're definitely going to be more of heels.
Yeah.
Because if they were still doing, the Shining Stars, I could see that being a face team. But definitely, with the Colognes, I think they would definitely remain heels. So I think they would probably use the New Day to probably feud with either the Ascension or the Colognes to try to bring them up in notoriety in the tag team division.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Now that you mention it, they might need to use the New Day to elevate those tag teams that really hadn't had the opportunities yet, kind of like Breezango. Um, and they need and the New Day is definitely a strong babyface team. But the thing about it is, do you bring the New Day in to lose to those teams after they got beat by the Revival on Raw?
That is true. But it's kind of one of those things of even with the New Day though, I think they're at a point now where they can eat losses and it won't really matter. Um, but I will say that I feel like even for the New Day, they would have to be solid losses. Um, Granted, it seems like whenever they want to job out the New Day, that's generally when they'll have Kofi Kingston and and
It would.
and Woods together. Or they'll generally it's like if they have Kofi and Big E together, generally that means that they're always going to win for the most part. Woods and Big E, there's a 50-50 shot that they might lose. But if it's Kofi and Woods, 9 times out of 10, they'll probably gonna lose.
Ah.
That's generally like the way that they book the New Day when they tag. So it's like it just kind of depends on the situation. But
Gotta protect
yeah,
Big E, man.
yeah, gotta protect them. I mean, shoot, if they're protecting them this much, they need to go ahead and put the championship on him too.
Yep.
But yeah. So anything else about the tag team matches you wanted to point out that you thought was
um,
super good?
no, I think that's it. Other than I think the Usos need to hold on to those titles for at least I say at least till Survivor Series. They might not last that long, but they're doing a really great job. And I think they need to hold on to those just a little bit longer to elevate these new babyface tag teams they're trying to bring in.
Yeah, I think it just depends on what they're going to decide to do with American Alpha or not. How they're going to try to book them. Um, just because that's going to kind of be the telltale for how long the Usos keep their titles is if they're going to try to use it to elevate American Alpha also, or if they're just going to call it quits and have the because I think the Usos will probably drop it at Survivor Series, not Survivor Series, but SummerSlam. That's what I personally think.
Uh, I guess, man. I guess. But the next match is Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin. And personally, even though I like Baron Corbin and I kind of like Sami Zayn, I didn't give a damn about this match.
Yeah, I was the same way. I didn't really care too much about it. Either way. And I kind of felt the Chicago crowd somewhat felt the same way that it seemed like they didn't really care about it too much either. Um, but I will say that with Sami Zayn winning, I know for a fact that this feud is going to continue.
Yeah,
And with that being said, with this feud continuing, I feel like that almost guarantees that neither one of them is going to win Money in the Bank.
yeah.
So
Or be in the match at all.
yeah, I feel like both of them will be in the match, but I can see this being a feud that they kind of drag out, possibly past Money in the Bank and maybe in a SummerSlam with probably like a match with a stipulation or something like that. Um, but yeah, definitely the fact that Sammy got that first win, I almost get because it's Baron Corbin. Like Baron Corbin does not like to lose.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna lie, like he's the sore loser of the WWE. Like if he lose, he's coming back there to beat whoever's ass who beat him. Like that's just the
That
way he
junk is
is.
funny, bro. That junk is hilarious. That's why I
I
like
know.
Baron Corbin. He doesn't care.
Oh, oh yeah, like Baron Corbin, like that is my dude, man. Like whenever they decide to put a championship on him, no matter what championship it is, I'm gonna be excited because that is my dude. But yeah, so definitely with this match, um, trying to pick out maybe some high moments. I'm not gonna lie. When Sammy first started holding his back, I was a little bit confused because I don't know if maybe I missed the spot, but I was just kind of confused because I was like, did something happen to where he's holding his back now? Or I was like, because I was kind of like, is something actually wrong with him, or did something happen that I just missed? Because I know he was kind of selling the back injury the whole time.
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I wasn't paying attention to this match. For real, for real. Um, like I said, I like Baron Corbin. It's just I've seen so many of Sami Zayn's matches. Like, okay, I've seen the Nakamura match he had in NXT like a year or two ago. And then I've
Hmm.
seen the matches he had with Kevin Owens. And I'm like, you get your ass beat, have 75% through the match. The best looking move you have, everybody kicks out of. That blue thunderball. Like it's the
Yeah,
cleanest move that he has, but everybody kicks out of it. Like that junk kills me. And okay, I'm cool with the whole haluva kick, but I know he got more in his arsenal than the moves that he's displaying to us now. And I just need to see something fresh from Sami Zayn, but every match I see of his, it feels like the same type of match. And he's always fighting people who are stronger than he is.
yeah, and I think that's kind of one of the things too. Is it's kind of like his story is a little bit redundant. In all of his matches, it's always like Sami Zayn fighting larger guys. Like, for the longest he was in the feud with Braun Strowman. And then now it's like the moment he gets on SmackDown, he's feuding with Baron Corbin, who essentially is SmackDown's version of Braun Strowman.
Yeah.
So it's it's definitely on a redundant side where I would you kind of want to see something different from him. And it's I'd almost like to see Sami Zayn in a situation where it's almost kind of like he's on the flip side, like maybe like a Sami Zayn feud with Aiden English, where Aiden English is more so that underdog in the situation, where Sammy's more so the vet with all the different skills and talents. Something else, because like you said, it's really redundant. And I don't know, maybe they just need to put a championship on Sami Zayn so he'll finally have a different story to tell besides always trying to achieve something, which I don't know. Maybe they'll finally pull the trigger with him between him and Kevin Owens, where they'll have him take the U.S. title off of Kevin Owens. Um, but I don't know, man. But I definitely agree. Like his matches have definitely been redundant.
Now, I don't want people to think that I'm bashing Sami Zayn, but I've seen his NXT work, and the way they're booking him on the main roster is just it pisses me off because the feud that he had with Neville like years ago for the NXT championship, like they were on the same level. But Neville found a sly way to get the victory off of Sami Zayn. And Sami was just furious. And each time he fought Neville, he would go harder and harder and harder until he finally beat Neville. But when they bring him to the main roster, he's like he just get whooped and whooped and whooped, and these people are like legit beating him without even trying to cheat. Like it makes him look very weak, and I know that he's not. He's actually a really good wrestler. So I'm hoping like if they actually want to build him as a baby face, he needs to stop getting beat clean and uh, allow a heel to actually get some heel heat and beat him that way so that it can protect him a little bit more. But right now, him getting beat clean by these heels is really not doing anything for me.
It's not at all like two things that I've seen where somebody said that they think that there's like as of right now, Sami Zayn's gimmick in the WWE is he's a bad wrestler.
Yeah.
Uh, and I'm trying to think well, dang, what was the other thing that I've seen regarding Sammy? Actually, it's regarding not just Sammy, but like several other people in the WWE in regards to in regards to Daniel Bryan, actually, where I think the WWE thinks that they are the reason that Daniel Bryan got over because of the way they booked him to, pretty much lose to all these different superstars. And then when he finally won, they think that that's what caused, his massive success, and just not the fact that people have loved Daniel Bryan for years. Um, and I think now they're putting those types of things on people like Sami Zayn, as well as people like Bailey, also on the main roster, where pretty much it's kind of like they book them as weaklings, nerds, essentially. Um, and that booking sucks. Like, to be honest, that booking is why a lot of people don't enjoy John Cena matches.
Yep.
Granted, John Cena matches, like I said, John Cena helps make other people look great. But the problem is, if if I know that you've been in the WWE for years, you're a 16-time champion, I don't expect to see you get beat up for 15 to 20 minutes just to see in the last 5 minutes you scoop up a win. Like,
Yeah.
nobody wants to see that. It's lousy storytelling and it's redundant. Like kind of like you said, I expect to see even exchanges back and forth. Kind of like, for instance, when Sami Zayn first came on the main roster and he answered John Cena's challenge,
Yeah.
you open US challenge. I expect to see more matches like that out of Sami Zayn, and some of these other new talents, because, like I said, their arsenals are vast, deep. They have a lot of experience. Like, nobody just wants to see them get beat up the entire time and then come out and scoop a win. Maybe that's cute for the kids and all, but I mean, it's a little redundant.
Yeah, you can't do that with every single feud that they have.
Yeah, and even, for instance, like, even in the Chicago crowd, you can tell that the Chicago crowd, they weren't that interested in Sami Zayn. Like, normally when Sami Zayn used to come out, people would sing his song to the top of their lungs from the beginning of his match to the end of his match. Now he barely even gets it in the introduction. So it's kind of crazy, but they definitely have to book their baby faces a little bit stronger.
Definitely. And quit booking them around the same type of heel personas too. Like I said, Sami Zayn keeps fighting people who are taller and stronger than him. Probably need to change that up. Um, but let's move on to the 6-woman tag team match. Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and the SmackDown Women's Champion Naomi versus Natalia, Carmella, and Tamina.
The
Um,
Welcoming Committee.
the Welcoming Committee. Definitely need to change that name because it sucks, and I don't see this stable lasting too much longer.
Um, I I'm not upset that the Welcoming Committee won, because, in all honesty, I was kind of expecting them to win. I'm upset that Becky Lynch tapped out to the sharpshooter that easily. Um, because really, during the match, there was nothing. There was like, it wasn't like she had any type of injuries. It wasn't like they were focused on a certain body part of hers. To be honest, out of everybody, she was probably in the match the very least. Granted, you know, I understand why Becky was the one who lost, because, they want to protect Naomi, especially since Naomi ate a pin on SmackDown already. They want to protect Naomi. They also want to protect Charlotte. Um, but I don't know, like, it would have been, for instance, I'm gonna kind of take this one and compare it to um, the Payback pay-per-view with the Raw, where they had Chris Jericho, have Kevin Owens tap out to the walls of Jericho, which that's probably the first time somebody tapped out to the walls of Jericho since I don't know when. But it's the fact that, at least, when Kevin finally tapped out, it was to the point where, he had been beaten up, he had been put in the walls of Jericho once before, and it was to the point where, he couldn't reach out to actually reach the ropes to break the hold. so he finally had to tap out.
Yeah.
In this case, Becky was in the sharpshooter for probably all of 10 seconds, and she tapped out. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know, like I would have been much more okay with maybe a pinfall victory, but the fact they had Becky tap out, kind of, I don't know, that one didn't settle right with me.
Nah, and to add to your point, the biggest issue to this match with the whole tapping out with Becky Lynch and everything, what the what did that even build towards?
That's also another good question because I don't know where this story is necessarily going at all. If it can be going anywhere, because I mean, I guess it makes these women who are kind of forgotten about seem a little bit more dominant. I don't know, but at the end of the day, like I said, it doesn't really do anything for them. Um, Natalia, which my thing is, granted, I like Natalia, but it's at the point where it's kind of like they've jobbed her out for so many years that I can't see her just all of a sudden making Becky Lynch tap out.
Nah.
um, so it's one of those things of because to me, in my opinion, I feel like the only person that's getting anything out of this is James Ellsworth.
Yeah. And
I think he's just getting more heel heat. But everybody else, I don't think it's benefiting anybody else in this whole scenario. I was thinking the only thing that could have happened that could have played out a little bit more is if Becky Lynch would have turned heel. But
yeah.
that didn't even happen, so I don't know.
Uh there I don't even understanding what the point of this feud is, like you said. Um I can't stand James Ellsworth now. At first, I thought he was hilarious. Now I can't stand him because even he's purposely being corny, but it's still corny. Like it's bad corny,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's helping Carmella or hurting her.
Well, I mean, I feel like this. I guess if we're annoyed with him, then technically he's doing his job. I mean, he's a heel, so we're being annoyed with him, I guess, is a good thing. But at the same time, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things of like, yeah, it's like I don't see where this is going. Because as far as I can tell, James Ellsworth isn't competing in the ring anytime soon. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's like it's not necessarily helping Carmella. I don't really see it helping out, Natalia at all. And personally, I wish Tamina was on her own, and because one, Tamina's a beast,
Yeah,
and so I feel like she kind of deserves her own little shine time, which hasn't happened lately. So I don't know where this is going at all.
um, what I would like for it to go is I kind of wish that they're trying to still have this Charlotte thing going on, which they need to go ahead and squash and let her feud with somebody else. For instance, possibly she needs to turn on Becky after this match because it gave them a loss. I also think that if Tamina's just not coming back, she don't need to be behind the scenes. Like she needs to be the one being pushed. So I wouldn't mind seeing a feud between her and Naomi for the championship. Um, and I don't think Naomi deserves her championship run to be consumed with a faction against her faction because
Yeah,
she's not necessarily getting matches like her matches with Alexa Bliss have actually been pretty good. And that one match she had with Charlotte for the championship was also pretty good. And I think she deserves to be a strong champion, just like how Becky and Alexa was able to display when they were champions.
mm-hmm.
And like she said, she's a great performer. Uh, she's a great entertainer. She's been there for a long time. Her reign, especially after the injury she had, that she had to give up the title, after coming through from that injury, I think she needs an opportunity to actually show that she is a legit champion
Mm-hmm.
because I think she has great potential to be like
Same,
one of the greats.
same. I definitely think she should be. Personally, I think this pay per view should have been a match with Naomi where she was ending her feud with Charlotte, being victorious. Um, and then possibly moving on, like you said, to maybe either a feud with Becky or like you said with Tamina or someone else. Because I'm not gonna lie, really outside of those three, nobody else, in my opinion, outside of those three, nobody else on the SmackDown roster seems like they're championship ready. Carmella's not there yet. In my opinion, like I said, they've kind of beaten Natty up so much that I don't see her being a championship contender.
No,
And Tamina's just gotten back, so she kind of needs to rebuild herself. So I don't know, especially now since all the people that in my opinion are legitimate champion type people, they're all faces. They're gonna need somebody else, and so I don't know if this is their way of trying to build someone else or what. But at this point, I just feel like they're just trying to do something until they debut somebody else onto the main roster that's supposed to be a more dominant heel female.
oh,
But
like Lana.
yeah, like maybe Lana, I don't know, maybe Asuka, I don't know at all. I don't know. But I mean, I heard that they signed, I thought that Maria had signed back to the WWE and was supposed to be coming to SmackDown, but I haven't heard anything else about that since.
Uh, Maybe they'll come back next week or 2 weeks from now because I'm pretty sure that somebody is going to turn on someone Tuesday and they're going to need a little bit more help. So we'll just have to see. But all in all, that match was a waste of their time.
Yep, completely
Um,
agree.
the next match is AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens for the United States Championship. Um, Obviously, it was a great match. It's AJ Styles, man.
Yes, AJ Styles and the face of America, Kevin Owens. Um, I was about to say, I'm not always like after seeing the finish, I wasn't that happy about it, but I know the reason why the finish happens is that the feud's going to continue. So, I mean, I guess that's kind of a good thing there. You get to see more feuding between AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, which is never a bad thing.
No, it's
So,
the way the match progressed and how the overall match was. I kind of want to see more of them feuding.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
they got really good chemistry. Kevin Owens is able to do things in the ring that he can't do with nobody else but AJ Styles. So I did, and AJ Styles is just amazing, man. Like
oh yeah,
Kevin Owen matches are okay. Like they're more good than just okay. But AJ Styles matches are always good. Always.
it's hard to have a bad match with AJ Styles, man. I'm pretty sure AJ could get me in the ring and get me to a 3 star, 3.5 star match.
Yeah.
So so my thing is if you have a bad match with AJ Styles, like you probably just shouldn't wrestle like ever. But definitely, yeah, like I always enjoy Kevin Owens, just because I feel like he always finds a way to bring out something new during his matches. So he's definitely good, and so him and AJ, this feud continuing, will definitely be great. It's going to be nothing but good things.
Yeah. And I definitely enjoyed his time on Talking Smack this evening. Uh, Pretty hilarious how he interacted with Peter Rosenberg and Renee Young.
Oh yeah.
He has quite the personality, that Kevin Owens.
Oh man, that was funny.
It was.
I literally spent that whole last 5 minutes laughing. It was hilarious.
All right,
Um,
next match was possibly a sleeper match. Uh, Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan. Um,
I'll say I was impressed with Eric Rowan in that one. To be honest,
yeah,
I feel like they let him do a lot more in the ring than he's done probably. I'm assuming since he was in NXT because I didn't see much of him when he was in NXT. I really didn't watch NXT that much when he was there. But I imagine this is probably the most in-ring work he's gotten to do in years.
yeah, I agree. Uh, Luke Harper is one of those guys that he's just he's becoming better and better with each match he's having. His feud with Randy Orton really helped him out,
Oh yeah.
surprisingly. Um, but he's really good. And Eric Rowan, he's when they were together with the Wyatt family first coming out, and he was feuding with Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. I thought that they were able to display a little bit, but recently I think they got a little more polished, and I can definitely see this feud getting better and better with each match. It definitely can't get any worse. But
Like
yeah,
I will say my only problem with it is I guess I just don't really see where their feud is eventually going to go. Just for simple fact of because at this point it's almost like the Wyatt family doesn't exist anymore. So it's kind of like Eric Rowan's mad. I mean, I guess he can say he can blame it on Luke, but I mean, essentially he has to blame it on Vince because Vince, sent Bray Wyatt to Raw. But
yeah,
it's kind of like definitely I don't mind the matches. Like I said, the matches aren't bad, but I feel like even the Chicago crowd, they were kind of, I guess they didn't necessarily know what to do, even though the match wasn't bad itself. I guess there was really no motivation there for them to necessarily cheer and to care about the match really.
yeah,
So I think that's what kind of definitely gave the feel to that match the way it was. But like it was actually a good match. Even though the crowd wasn't that into it, it was actually a pretty decent match. I will say that much.
yeah. Usually I'll look away from Eric Rowan matches or at least change the channel, but I actually watched the entire match, and they did pretty good. I could definitely see them two being in the Money in the Bank ladder match, as a couple of big men, uh, create some high spots with some of the more smaller dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Hopefully that's where they take this because I can't really see them feuding with each other for forever. So hopefully, if they can get into the Money in the Bank ladder match, I hope they're able to really get themselves noticed and hope. And you never know, possibly one of them might actually win the briefcase.
Yeah,
Never know.
maybe.
But uh, let's get down to the main event, the match I was waiting for the entire weekend. Randy Orton, the WWE champion,
Versus
is
the
defending.
Maharaja,
Yes.
Jinder Mahal. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie. When this match started, I was sitting there and I was looking and I was like, wait, none of the other titles changed hands tonight. And I
Yep.
was like, I was like, are they actually going to do this? Uh, I was gonna say now. One thing I will say about that finish though, I was looking and it looked like Randy Orton kicked out, or at least was trying to kick out.
Hmm.
So, and I know they kind of showed the replay, and it looked like when it was going down to like the 2 or 3, it looked like his shoulder that was underneath Jinder came up. So I don't know if maybe that was an accident. Granted, I'm pretty sure that Jinder was supposed to win. Like, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have hit 3 and gave him the title if he wasn't supposed to win.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's going to be kind of like a plot line going forward that Randy really kicked out, but the ref didn't see it or something like that. But definitely, I'm going to say the one thing that I had a problem with during this match is that the Jinder and Randy kind of killed the crowd during the middle of the match, because at one point it was pretty much just like 5 minutes of Jinder having Randy Orton in a hammerlock, essentially.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of one of those things. It was like, okay, you're working the arm. Can you do something else?
Yeah.
and you can kind of tell that the crowd died down a little bit, and it made the ending sequence seem not as exciting because the crowd wasn't necessarily into it, even though it was a really good end sequence.
Yeah. The crowd was actually behind Jinder Mahal.
Yes.
When he first came out, they were on their feet, and it actually gave him a great reception. And then,
Jinder Mahal got a Chicago pop.
yeah, that's rare, people. The last time he got a pop was I can't even remember.
Never.
Never. Um, and when he won the championship, they popped. Like they were shocked. They couldn't believe that it actually happened. He became champion. But come on, man, this dude has been working his butt off this entire time, getting bigger, getting the physique he needs to actually look like a legit threat. And then the stuff that he did at WrestleMania with what's his face, Mojo Rawley,
Mm-hmm.
really showed his heel heat, especially going against Rob Gronkowski. Um, and then his match with Finn Balor and giving him a concussion showed his dominance. And when they moved him to SmackDown, they gave him the opportunity to win a six-pack challenge. And ever since then, he's been stepping his game up each and every week. Some of it might have been a little overkill, but when you have an opportunity like that to win the championship or to show people backstage that you can actually do this, you need to go 120%. And that's what
Oh
he
yeah.
did. And people are going to hate and say that he doesn't deserve it, but with the opportunity he got, he didn't waste it. He took full advantage of it, and that alone should be praised.
Oh yeah. Like, my thing is, I'm looking forward to seeing, because I'm pretty sure that his title run, I feel like this, unless this next month he just takes the bull by his horns and just really just excels himself and his character. I'm pretty sure this will just be like a month long title run. Probably drop the title back to Randy um, at the next pay per view. But I definitely think it's going to be an interesting month to see what happens, what occurs with this title run, just because it it was definitely something. I was surprised. I didn't know if they were actually going to pull the trigger on it. Um, but definitely, like you said, over the past month, he's really done great character work. You can definitely see that he still needs a little bit more work in the ring when it comes to working with some of the faster paced guys like AJ Styles and Sami Zayn and different things like that. But that's something that eventually, he can be carried a little bit more, and eventually he'll get a little bit more comfortable and up to speed. Not saying that he'll be a match of the year candidate every single match he puts on, but I think the more comfortable he gets in the ring, the better he'll be overall. But definitely, I'm interested to see what he's going to do this next month.
Yeah, me too. I like you said, I hope he's not a transitional champion. I think he deserves a little bit more than that. He's getting and actually making Randy Orton a little bit more interesting this time around. Um, Randy Orton's spot with the Singh brothers was hilarious. Randy Orton completely destroyed them.
I'm not gonna lie, he almost killed one of the same brothers, and he knew it. Like that that reaction that he had on his face when he flipped old buddy on his head, like Randy Orton was even like, "Ooh, shit, my bad." Like that face, I was like, "Damn, Randy." But
I thought he killed one of them first.
I literally thought we had lost the same brother, especially when only one of them came back to the ring at first for that double double DDT spot. When only one of them was back at the ring, I was like, "Damn, the other one must be out. He's
Yeah,
dead."
he flipped the mess out of that last one. He fell on his head so hard.
So it's definitely gonna be something.
Yeah, that was definitely I like the that aggression out of Randy Orton. He really showed that when you get fed up with somebody, you get fed up with them, and you proceed to destroy them. And I think he did a really good job with that. And it led up to Gender's victory, and it really shows that if Gender continues to wrestle in this type of style, he could possibly get to that level that JBL was at when he became SmackDown champion.
The wrestling god
Yeah.
era. But definitely, it's. I'm excited for Jinder Mahal, man. This is gonna be something. Like I said, personally, I think the WWE's plans initially are to have him drop it at the end of the month, unless unless he does a really good job. That's personally my opinion, because he's kind of one of those people where, yeah, they're trying to use him to expand the markets in India, but at the same time, I know it's kind of still a trial run, just kind of see how well he does. So it's going to be an interesting month, definitely, to see, because I'm pretty sure, especially out there putting the title on him, they're going to give him every chance to excel. So it's going to be a matter of if he's going to continue to grab the bull by his horns or if he's going to fall off.
I think he's gonna continue. I got faith in him because just think about it from your experience. Like if somebody gave you an opportunity like that, and you've been working your butt off for years, and this was your dream for the longest, and they actually gave it to you. Do you really want to just drop it after you get it? Like, do you want to continue to expand on it? And the way he changed his entire work ethic around when he came back about a year ago, um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's gonna try to let this opportunity go to waste. Like most people in the past did. I think he's gonna take full advantage of it, and he might be one of the biggest heels in wrestling in a couple of years. You never know. But this is definitely a great start, and I praise SmackDown, I praise WWE for actually giving somebody like him an opportunity, because if he is able to make that opportunity work, then I'm pretty sure everybody else that they may have doubted in the past could work too. So yeah, great ending to a pretty darn good pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah.
And wow, we're really getting up on this time here, so we probably need to run through these NXT matches pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it around an hour at least, but since this is just our first podcast, folks, so we're trying to get the whole time management thing down pat. But once we do, we'll try to get possibly some quicker reviews out for you.
All right, so let's go. Takeover.
All right, Takeover Chicago. Great pay per view. Probably one of the best NXT pay per views since the first NXT Brooklyn. In my opinion.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely say it's a good one. I was about to say people are definitely going to argue with that Brooklyn comment, but let's go through the card.
Okay, first match was Roderick Strong versus Eric Young. Um, really quick, I thought this was a good showing with Roderick Strong. He has a very unique style. I love his finisher. I think he has great chemistry with Eric Young, and he showed dominance. Actually pulling off a victory against Sandy, who has been kind of undefeated as of late. And I think this is boosting him up to that NXT title picture.
Oh yeah, this match definitely. I'm not gonna. I feel like this is the first time because before he's been using like a running drop kicker, like running big boot, something like that is his finisher beforehand, right? This is the first
Yeah.
time he's okay. That's what I thought because like when he broke out that finish, I was like, oh shit. Um, I feel like the last finisher that made me do that was Cedric Alexander's lumbar check. Man, that
Oh
was
yeah.
definitely when he busted that out. I was surprised, but I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think he was gonna win this one. So I kind of think it's similar to the Baron Corbin Sami Zayn feud, where I think this will kind of just add more fuel on the fire. But I think this will be a good feud with him and Sandy, and I wonder if this is going to be a good way to finally bring back No Way Jose. I know he's been kind of out for a while, so I wonder if he's going to come back to help team with Strong.
I don't know with that whole Velveteen Dream coming around. That might be his next feud.
Oh gosh, I'm not gonna lie. That's not a debut I'm looking forward to be honest.
Nah, no brother. Acting like Prince in a wrestling ring. Nah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. But let's go to the what's the next match we have?
Next match was the UK Championship match. You had Tyler Bate against Pete Dunne. Great match. Absolutely fantastic match.
Yeah,
Uh,
podcast people. I got to go back and watch this one. I fell asleep, not because it was a boring match. I was just physically exhausted. But continue.
fantastic match. Great spots. I've been sleeping on the UK tournament. I've been sleeping on the matches. I think this special they had this past week. I think I didn't even look at it. I've seen a few of Tyler Bates matches, but he pretty much dominated most of it. But when he has somebody who is kind of on the same par as him or on the same level, man, those two guys can go, man. Like Pete Dunne, he really reminds me of William Regal back
Man,
during his prime. Like the brutality and how dirty he fights, and even he doesn't even fight dirty all the time. Like his skill in the ring is just really good. His finisher is top notch.
oh
Like
yeah,
these UK guys are killing it. Like I, I might go back and rewatch this tournament based on what I saw at this takeover because this match was just it was everything.
oh
Like
yeah,
I think this was even better than the NXT Championship match. That's how good it was. Like it was incredible. Like when you do have a chance to watch it, go and watch it because uh, that match was fantastic.
oh yeah. I mean, most likely I'm probably going to watch it tomorrow afternoon. Um, but definitely like I'm not surprised. I pretty much figured Pete Dunne was going to pick up the win. Um, and definitely like this guy has a great look. Like he looks like a heel. Like there's no way that I could ever see Pete Dunne being a babyface. Um, it's either he's going to be a heel or you're not ever going to see him. And when you do see him, he's going to come back and remind you that he's a heel. So definitely um, nothing but probably great things coming. And I feel like it's always good to kind of have a heel champion when you're trying to kick off a new TV show because they help build up baby faces. So
Yeah, they definitely got me interested. Great match. Like I said, when you watch it, let me know because I would love to get your thoughts on that match because it was possibly my favorite match the entire night. Um,
yeah,
Next match is the triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. Asuka versus Ruby Riott versus Nikki Cross. Um, Honestly, bruh, didn't care. Um, when Amber Moon was taken out due to injury, I knew this match was gonna suck. There was a lot of bot spots in this match. Ruby Riott, she tried, to pump it up a little bit, but Asuka was just the superior wrestler. Same thing with Nikki Cross. Her character is just getting old with the whole craziness thing. Um, they definitely need to work on that a little bit more. Try to show a little bit more, like a different side of her crazy than her just running around the ring growling at people. Um, but I did not like the finish to this match. For an Oscar match, it probably was her weakest match that I've seen since she's been holding the championship. Um, Other than that, congratulations, Oscar, for continuing your reign. Yeah, I think she already surpassed Goldberg, and I think she's on the verge of surpassing the New Day soon. So hopefully she gets that. And I'm thinking that she holds on to the title until Ember Moon comes back fully recovered.
yeah. So I actually disagree. One, I liked this match. Um, to the point of I feel like it let Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott kind of show what they can do because up until then, pretty much they were both kind of taking on jobbers, or they were more so of just kind of competing in brawls. So this you kind of got to see some more in ring ability, and definitely while I say it can use work, I think that especially I was actually really impressed with both Nikki Cross and Ruby Riott. I think Nikki Cross more so. I actually have liked the Nikki Cross's kind of craziness because to me is actually different than a lot. Like for instance, like they kind of like to say that Dean Ambrose is a lunatic.
Yeah,
Like, but to me, he's just kind of quirky.
yeah,
Uh, I was about to say, Nikki Cross, she acts like a lunatic. Like you think that she's crazy. Definitely like the growling and stuff is kind of like okay, it's a little bit extra, but some of the other things that she does, like for instance when she had like her interview back in NXT a couple of weeks ago, and then kind of like the little video vignettes they did with all of Insanity and her and Alexander Wolf kind of interacting.
yeah,
I like her character. I think she's really good. I will say that this was one of Oscar's weakest performances, and I think that might have been a little bit due to I feel like this character that they're kind of going to now, to where it almost seems like she's kind of bored with NXT,
yeah,
um, and I think that's kind of the lines that they're going with. But kind of in your regards, I definitely think I'm pretty sure Ember Moon's going to be the one to take the title off of her. Hopefully she's back for SummerSlam because I imagine that's probably when that's going to happen. It's SummerSlam if she's back. Um, so it's definitely like I said, it's one of Oscar's weakest performances. But at one point, I was thinking that maybe there was a possibility that Oscar wasn't going to pull this one out, but she won it. So the Empress is still the champion.
yeah. And like I said, until Ember Moon uh, fully recovers, I don't know where they're gonna go with her now. Um, she definitely deserves some time off. whenever she gets a chance because she has earned it. But hopefully they treat her the same way when she goes to the main roster. She needs to be dominant. Um, but we shall see. Um, Next match was the NXT Championship match between the glorious Bobby Roode and Hideo Itami.
I'm not gonna lie, like with the if this wasn't his first title, well, it was not his first title defense, but if this wasn't his first takeover title defense since Shinsuke Nakamura, I would have thought that he might have lost this match.
Yeah,
Just because the way he was selling that shoulder injury, man, that was really great stuff. This was a great match. Um, Hideo looked really great. Bobby Roode looked like a million freaking bucks, man.
he did.
Um, I was about to say, even against his matches with Shinsuke, like I was like, they were good matches, but I wasn't necessarily that impressed. This match, I must say, I was definitely impressed with Bobby Roode. Definitely, he's definitely great. If I wasn't sold on Bobby Roode before, I definitely am now. As far as in ring ability, because he definitely had all the other things down pat, but definitely now I am sold on Bobby Roode 100%.
Yeah, definitely. And he is possibly, I'm still in the fence. I'm still kind of torn between him and Neville. But I think he is possibly the best booked NXT champion in a very long time.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
not going. I'm not going to put Finn in there because the demon gimmick kind of carried him mostly through his title reigns.
mm-hmm.
But Bobby Roode, he just the way he carried himself, he doesn't carry himself like a kid. He doesn't carry himself like a youngster. He doesn't carry himself like he carries himself as if this is him. Like he is the glorious Bobby Roode. Like he
Oh
is
yeah,
this arrogant guy. Like he reminds me of that old school champion,
yep,
that Ric Flair, that Triple H. Like that's what he reminds me of. And he beats you. He can do it underhandedly throughout the match, but he still beats you clean at the end. And one thing I noticed with these takeovers is ever since he's decided to use that DDT, which I am calling the executioner because that's who got it over edge.
yeah,
Um, every time he uses that move with these takeovers, he finds a different way to do it. And the way he ended this match was fantastic. I've never thought that he would hit the executioner twice, and the way that he held Hideo in the air for the second one and planted him,
oh yeah.
I
It,
jumped
that
out of my seat, man.
it was glorious.
Yes, I jumped out of my seat, and because that was a fantastic way to show his aggression and the exclamation point to the match. Like I'm gonna make sure I beat you, and I'm gonna make it look good too. And he definitely did that, and it was definitely a well-deserved victory.
Oh yeah, definitely well deserved. Great victory from Shinsuke. Nah, not Shinsuke. Bobby Roode. And definitely like I'm interested just to see who his next feud is going to be. To see how long they decide to keep him in NXT, just because they are overwhelmed, in my opinion, with new talent, new possible NXT champions. So I wonder if they're going to keep the title on him for a long time, or if they're going to have him, drop it to somebody like Drew McIntyre or Cassius Ono or whoever possibly, Aleister Black, whoever it may be. Um, it's going to be interesting to see what's next.
Drew McIntyre would be good. I can see them having a very physical. I think he's probably the only person that could give Bobby Roode some trouble. And let's not forget Hideo Itami. He did a really good job too.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the only thing that I think is gonna suck for Hideo Itami is if they send him to 205 Live. Not no, granted 205 Live they've definitely been doing great work, but since they only have an hour, like so many of those guys on 205 Live are really just kind of lost in the shuffle.
Yeah,
Because every single week they're gonna find a way to shove Neville, Austin Aries, TJP, and Jack Gallagher on you. Then you always find a Tony Nese match somewhere. Um, they've been doing a lot with Mustafa Ali, Brian Kendrick. There's only so much they can do in an hour. And
yeah,
I kind of hate to see Hideo Itami kind of get put on 205 Live and get lost in that shuffle. I'd rather much see him on either Raw or SmackDown, doing a little bit more. And Raw could definitely use another mid card guy to kind of help in their mid card area. So hopefully he gets put on Raw and he can have some success over there. But it's all a matter of what happens in the future.
yeah. And I don't think he'll be put on 205 Live, because in my personal opinion, he's a better wrestler than Finn Balor. And if they put him on 205 Live, then they need to put him and Kalisto and Finn Balor on 205 Live, because you shouldn't put Hideo on 205 Live just because he didn't succeed in NXT. Like, he's still a great wrestler. And
Yeah.
if you gave all these other people opportunities when they came to the main roster, then I think he deserves at least a chance to hang with the big guys.
Yeah, I agree. And then I also wonder, just another side note before we move to the main event, but I also wonder if they're going to keep Neville on 205 Live or if they're eventually going to move him back onto the Raw roster.
Um, they may move him back up, but the fact that they gave him this whole character of being the king of the cruiserweights, how can you come back and feud for the World Heavyweight Championship?
Well, I mean, personally, in my opinion, I think this heel, I mean, the way I look at it is, after he's dominated the cruiserweight division, eventually, Austin Aries is going to win the title off of him. But after that point, pretty much everybody else in kind of that main card in 205 Live, he's already beaten. So it's kind of like, been there, done that. And now, because really one of his main problems when he was first on the Raw roster is the fact that, he didn't really have a personality. Now he kind of has a heel persona. And so that could be kind of used to his advantage if he does decide to go back to the main roster. So, well, Raw. So it'll be interesting to see. But next, the final match. You had DIY versus the Authors of Pain. And the biggest story to come out of this match had absolutely nothing to do with the Authors of Pain. But not to demean the match, because that was a great match.
Great.
An amazing tag team match, an amazing effort. You had, you know, Authors of Pain getting splashed through ladders, suplexed through ladders, just amazing spots throughout the entire thing. But, it led to the Authors of Pain victory. And what we assumed was, well, no, we were right. It was the last time we saw DIY in NXT because Tomas Ochampa decides to destroy Gargano at the
Destroy.
end. Destroyed him. I couldn't believe it. Like, I heard that there was a possible rumor that the two might be breaking up, but I did not see it coming. And oh my gosh.
That was incredible. He destroyed him.
It that was just I was taken aback. I really didn't know what to say. I was just sitting there like, oh my gosh, this can't be happening. And it was happening. It was amazing. In my opinion, this was the best heel turn that I have seen in the WWE in years. I was about to say, like, I know people always say like the Festival of Friendship was heart wrenching. This right here takes the cake. This makes the Festival of Friendship look like uh just a little high school beef. This was just crazy.
Yeah,
Like
that was insane.
this was wow. That's all I can really say. I did not see that coming. I'll say the only disappointing thing is the fact that I was expecting to see amazing another amazing tag team join the main roster and help develop some of these other guys in the tag team divisions on the main roster, but they split them up.
Yep,
That's the only problem I have with this whole thing is that now that amazing tag team is never going to be on the main roster.
never. Well, they might debut them as DIY be, because I don't know. It depends on how good they do with their singles runs. But I do think that they're a better fit as a tag team. But man, I don't see how these dudes still had the energy after taking on the Authors of Pain and like that whole suplex through the ladder thing that
Uh,
Tommaso Ciampa did to one of the Authors of Pain, and they broke. I've never seen a ladder break like that ever.
Me neither.
I
That
thought that dude like broke his back completely the way that thing snapped.
that was just complete craziness. That whole match was amazing, and then like I said, that heel turn was something else. So I guess it's just really now. I mean, of course, they're not going to go up to the main roster now. So obviously, there's going to be a feud between these two guys going forward in NXT. But it's just going to be a matter of uh, I'm just not sure what they're going to do with them once they do go up to the main roster now. Now that they split them up, that's going to kind of be the big thing there. What's going to happen with these two guys?
Um, I hope if they do bring, I say I really hope they bring them up as DIY. But seeing that they split, they might keep them in NXT for another year or two, which might do great for their singles run because their cruiserweight match was very well done. I don't think they need to come up as cruiserweights. I think they deserve to be mid card guys, and depending on how popular they get while their singles run in NXT goes, I think that they could really boost NXT up in the singles department.
I was gonna say, sadly, I think that since they split them up, I think the main reason why they split them up was so they would have an excuse for why they put them in the cruiserweight division.
Mm,
I, to be honest, I think that's might be the main motivation because with them being a tag team, they wouldn't be able to go into the cruiserweight division. Um, but at this point, Neville is the only legitimate heel, really, in my opinion. I mean, not Daniel Bryan, but Brian Kendrick's a heel, of course, but he's a lovable heel. Like, even though he gets heel heat, like oh man, that's something that you should actually watch. When you watch the UK special promotion, there's actually a match with TJP and D. Brian Kendrick versus um, Rich Swan and this guy who was a competitor in the UK tournament.
yeah.
And when I tell you, when Brian Kendrick's music hit, that UK crowd popped so hard. Like, man, people love Brian Kendrick, so it's like he's not, a legit heel, in the sense of he gets heel heat. Uh, I definitely think Tommaso Ciampa is going to have heel heat because, like I said, that was a heel turn of the freaking century. Um, so I definitely think that the main reason why they split those two guys up was so that they can put both of them on 205 Live, which I think sucks, personally. And it's not because I think little of 205 Live, but I definitely wanted to see these guys paired up in a tag team division. Um, but 205 Live immediately does need more notable faces that will bring, more viewers to the show. Austin Aries was a good start, but it's only so much he can do. So definitely bringing those two guys on 205 Live would help boost it up. And I wonder if they're just put both of those guys on 205 Live and let their feud kind of kick off on 205 Live versus having to start on NXT.
You know,
That
you
was
know, what I really think they should have did was kind of like how they doing the UK thing now. Um, they should have made 205 Live its own show instead of having them come on Raw and stuff because I think that really hurt them. But
yeah. I was like, the Raw matches hurt them so much because it's literally like they give them less than 5 minutes, so they can't really do anything. And then the crowds, they're like, oh, well, here's just kind of a filler match. So they don't really give a damn about the matches. So it doesn't really help sell the show at all.
no, it doesn't. And the way that they kind of play them as jokes compared to like if they would have just brought out 205 Live after that Cruiserweight Classic, then I would have been like, oh man, I gotta watch this every week. But after seeing how they did them in on Raw, I'm like, I'm not gonna watch 205 Live if they're doing this. I know they're gonna have some great matches every now and then, but it's not that to that same effect that it was during the Cruiserweight Classic.
Oh yeah.
And I think that if they would have had 205 Live by itself with its own roster and their championship matches was on an NXT takeover, I think it would have been a better decision because after that, you probably could have pulled some of them guys. It would have made NXT better, especially after they kind of drained their talent that one time after
Hmm.
WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And you're able to experiment with different things. Like some of those cruiserweights could have been tag teams, kind of like Gargano and Ciampa, or they could have went for the cruiserweight belt, or they could have went for the NXT belt. Like it would have still made NXT a little more interesting. Or if you didn't want to put them with the NXT people, you could have just had their cruiserweight matches on 205 Live. I mean, not 205 Live, but their cruiserweight matches on the NXT Takeover, similar to the one we had last night. Because, like I said, what they're doing on Raw, it's not really helping. But you see what they're doing with the UK stuff, that's helping. Because, like I said, that UK match that I saw tonight, that jump makes me want to watch the UK show they're coming out with.
Oh yeah. And my thing is, personally, they should have one or two things. I think they hurt themselves when they named it 205 Live, because I don't think it should be live, just for the simple fact of I think they would benefit a whole lot more from having taped showings. Something similar to how NXT is, kind of like smaller, intimate venues, to where they can kind of help develop their characters a little bit more. And then they can do similar things, um, like in NXT. They can go and they can do different tours in different cities and different things, as well as like you said, either they could be a part of Takeover or they could have their own pay-per-views. But also the thing that hurt 205 Live straight out the gate is that they don't let them, especially on Raw, they do not let them wrestle the cruiserweight style like they did in the Cruiserweight Classic.
Yeah.
On 205 Live, they do a little bit more, But definitely like on Raw, like they do not let them do anything close to what they did in the Cruiserweight Classic. And like if they did that, I guarantee you 205 Live would be the number. Like if they wrestled the Cruiserweight Classic, Cruiserweight style, they would be the number one show on the WWE network,
Very true.
even beating out NXT. Because that was easily like the Cruiserweight tournament was easily the best thing ever. Like it was freaking
The best
amazing.
thing they did in 2016.
It was freaking amazing.
Yeah, it was definitely incredible. That was something I watched every single week, and if
Yep.
I wasn't able to catch it, I would get up early in the morning or get on later that night and watch it immediately because I knew that was some top quality matches.
I literally watched NXT and then I would watch the Cruiserweight Classic. Like that was my Wednesday nights during that whole period of time.
And it was great. It was pure wrestling. It had a couple of stories to tell, but it showed you what these guys can do. And if you're trying to get people, most people who watch 205 Live probably seen the Cruiserweight Classic. And if they seen the Cruiserweight Classic, they know that, okay, man, y'all watered down their style, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like fully. Like, now, if y'all was trying to build 205 Live, like, just say on Raw, they gave you like one cruiserweight match that kind of hinted at 205 Live, but they were the quality matches that was like the Cruiserweight Classic, then of course I would have watched every week. But I know it's not.
Yep.
It's more that BS storytelling. They're trying to get the characters over more than the wrestling. And when it comes down to cruiserweights, even in WCW, the wrestling was the most important thing.
Yep.
Your character developed through your wrestling style. Like Dean Malenko was known for his submission holds, not because he talked about it all the time. It's because he literally put you in a new submission hold every time he wrestled. Same thing with Rey Mysterio. Like his high flying ability was top notch at the time.
Yep.
That's why he became so popular. It's just not everything that happens on Raw and SmackDown, mainly Raw, doesn't need to happen to every show on the WWE network.
Yep.
Some things work better in their own, doing their own thing.
Yeah. I was about to say Triple H understands that it's mostly Vince that kind of screws that stuff up.
I see.
But yeah, I was about to say well, we're almost at, almost at 2 hours, so we might want to go ahead and cut this one.
Yeah, we definitely I don't know. We probably don't need to share this because it's 2 hours long. We're probably gonna have to try to do these reviews at least close to maybe 30 to 40, 45 minutes maybe. If not less than that. But that's our overall thoughts. Great shows. Hopefully y'all enjoy hearing our thoughts about it. Like I said, this was like our first podcast. So we're trying to get used to everything, especially with timing. We're very passionate wrestling fans, so we tend to talk a lot and speculate a lot about what's going to happen in the future and dive into details. I'm pretty sure you see this on other podcasts as well, but we know based on our viewing of other people's videos that shorter videos usually capture more of your time. So capture more of your grabs more of your attention, and the longer the video, the less attention you give it. Um, so we're going to try our best to try to keep things shorter than what we did this time, but I hope you all did enjoy. Um, did you have any last words or thoughts or anything?
Yeah, I'm simply gonna say, it also didn't help that we were reviewing two pay-per-views in one podcast. So definitely next time, we'll probably try to limit it down to one pay-per-view per podcast. That'll definitely help cut down the time. a little bit on there. And we'll kind of lower down the ranting, but like you said, we're avid fans, so there'll be a little banter here and there. But definitely appreciate you guys for listening to our first podcast. Give us, definitely your advice, your comments. We love to hear. Likes, subscribe, share, all of those great, wonderful things. Um, but we definitely thank you for supporting our first podcast, for viewing, listening, and all those great things. So thank you, good people out there, whoever you may be.
And next time you probably hear from us is maybe after SmackDown Live. We might try to do a Raw and SmackDown review after they air. Try to knock them out. But I'm pretty sure we're both more interested in Raw. I mean, in SmackDown than Raw. But
Yeah.
we're definitely going to keep everybody posted. And the next time y'all see us, it's probably going to be later on this week. So, like I said, if you enjoy what you saw today, please give a like, share, comment, just like you said before. And I hope you all have a good night and hope to see new developments in the wrestling world next week. So stay tuned.
All right. Thank you, people.
All right. Bye bye.